Hi there. Welcome back to Author Q&A with Jill Staten. Last week, for the first episode, we focused on the writing process. This week, we're going to focus on Paper Lantern Promises, and I'm going to answer some of your questions about that story. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that if you haven't pre-ordered your signed copy, you should probably do that pretty soon. The copies are selling really fast. Thank you so much to those of you who have already purchased one. The signed copies will only be available through Monday, March 28th. So if you order your signed copy before then, wonderful. The only other time signed copies will be available is if you purchase them at my book signings. That calendar schedule of events comes out the first week of April. So you'll kind of get an idea of when I'll be doing a book signing at a bookstore near you. So far on the docket we have Walls of Books in Ella J, Once and Again Books in Marietta. It's the location on Shallowford, and it's the corner of Shallowford and Sandy Plains. Foxtail Books has signed on. I don't exactly know a date for them yet, and then also the Book Exchange in Marietta. So I have a lot of things in the works. I just don't have any final dates. I'll get those to you as soon as possible. If you didn't watch last week's, you can go on my Facebook page and find the link to the episode. It's, again, facebook.com/author Jill Staten. So let's get started. Today I'm going to talk about Paper Lantern Promises. The question I have most often, this question has come from tons of people, and it's the obvious one. What's the book about? Brief synopsis. The book is about a woman named Jocelyn McNeil who is an avid photographer. She's a dreamer, and she got married just out of college. She finds herself in her late 20s in a failing marriage. She's struggling to be the wife that she thinks that she needs to be, and there's a little bit of emotional abuse involved in that relationship. Suddenly, of course, knight in shining armor walks out into her world, walks out of dreamland into her world in the form of a mysterious musician named Van. The name Van comes from, it's a nod to one of my favorite artists of all time, Van Morrison. So if you were thinking that was the case, then it definitely is. For Jocelyn, Van represents something that she's always wanted and dreamed about, but her husband, Richard, represents tradition and commitment and keeping promises. The third monkey wrench that gets thrown into her plan is a fantastic career opportunity, but it would require her to move away from everyone involved. So she finds herself kind of choosing between these three different paths, and she feels like any of them could make her happy, but she has to pick the one that's perfect. So that's the story, without going into too much detail and without giving anyone any spoilers. Most people haven't read the book, obviously. It doesn't come out until the end. So those who have, they know what's going to happen. I kind of want to start with that question, actually. Libby asked me, what does the book end in a satisfying way? And her remarks towards that is, so many books these days end with a cliffhanger, or end in a place that you think, well, the writer just got tired of the story and they gave up. That's not the case with Paper Lantern Promises. I feel like all loose ends get tied up, and the reader gets a satisfactory close. Even some of the minor characters that you kind of get invested in the story. My favorite minor character is Cruz. She's Jocelyn's best friend, and she's so much fun. She literally makes me laugh out loud, so I hope that you all love her as much as I do. The next question comes from Donna. The question is, how many of your own life experiences are reflected in the story? I will say that Jocelyn is not me. Jocelyn is way cooler than I could ever be. So keep that in mind when you're reading. First of all, I'm 5 feet tall and she's 5'8", 5'9". You know, she's tall drink of water. She's way more creative and way more awesome. So I guess she's the person that in the if I could be anything that I wanted to be, I would be Jocelyn. She's a flawed character, which I think we can all relate to. But as far as her life experiences, maybe the only thing that really is reflected in the book that's my own experience is the fact that Jocelyn is struggling with should she get a divorce or not. I'm divorced and remarried. So Jocelyn's feelings and thoughts on getting a divorce probably match my own. It's not a fun thing, and anyone struggling or who has struggled with a divorce knows that it's a decision that's not made lightly and it affects your world. Luckily for Jocelyn, she doesn't have children, so she doesn't have to really worry about all of the emotional strife that a divorce can cause. The other part that kind of reflects my own life is the way Van looks. He bears a striking resemblance to my husband. So obviously, I'm attracted to my husband, and if you are trying to get a picture of what Van looks like, just think of Jack and you'll see him. Van's personality, the fact that he's a musician, those things are not at all like Jack. He is less outgoing than Van. He's quiet and stoic. He's a quiet, strong one. And Van's outgoing and social. Also, Jack does not know how to play a musical instrument, and he does not sing. He refuses to sing in front of people because he thinks, self-proclaimed, terrible at singing. So I say that lovingly because that's what he said. You know, I don't mind that he can't sing. The last question I'm going to cover today is from Valerie. She said, she kind of piggybacked off Donna's question and said, well, since the book does relate to me personally in some way, was writing it therapeutic? I would have to say yes, because writing in general is therapeutic. You can have this one little thing in your life that you're thinking about or wondering about and kind of write it out. So I would suggest that all people in the universe keep a journal, because writing is therapeutic in general. But I would say that writing about divorce was therapeutic. When you go through a divorce, you feel there's a sense of failure, and I don't think that can be helped, regardless of what the circumstances were. Because when you lose a spouse, you lose an opportunity to make something right. And I'm a very goal-oriented person, so my drive and ambition tells me that I can do anything and I can make anything right. So having to go through a divorce there was a lot of self-reflection and self-deprecation in that. So writing about divorce was definitely therapeutic. I'm hoping that reading about divorce for people is therapeutic as well. I also kind of want to make a side note on that. I keep a prayer journal. So if I'm ever going through something that's really, really tough and I don't really know how to get down on my hands and knees and pray about it, I write a letter to God instead. I have a book of letters, and some are to God, some are to my grandmother who passed away a few years ago. I write letters to my husband that I never give him, just to talk to him without, some things I want to bring up to him that really shouldn't be brought up. Not necessarily bad things, but I just kind of have to write them out. And once I write them and I read them, I'm like, okay, I don't really need to discuss that. I'm good. I wrote it out of me. So yes, writing can be therapeutic. I suggest keep a prayer journal or write letters that you never intend to send, just to kind of not release those thoughts into the universe. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to offer you the opportunity to give me some feedback. Comment on the video either on YouTube or on my blog or on Facebook. Feel free to personal message me some questions for next week. I will tell you that next week I'm going to focus on characterization. I had a lot of questions this week about, tell me about the character of Jocelyn. How did you arrive to her? So I decided to put all those questions in an answer, and that will be episode 3. Can't wait to talk more to you about Jocelyn and her life and how I came to know her. Just one last reminder, if you'd like to order your signed copy, go to facebook.com/author Jael Staten. The link to RE.Publishing is there where you can purchase your pre-ordered signed copy of the book. Those will ship on Tuesday, March 29th. Next week on March 16th, the ebook will be available for all e-readers. You'll download the PDF. It's $5.99 plus tax, and you can read it on your devices, computer, phone, iPad, whatever. Also, the actual book comes out and can be ordered on Tuesday, March 29th. And then if you want to purchase books, a list of all the bookstores that are holding signings and also selling my book will be available no later than April 1st. I look forward to talking with you guys again next week. Please feel free to share my video, to share my author page, and to share your thoughts on my upcoming novel. Have a great day.